Is stress good for you? I'm going to answer that question in today's video. I'm going to go into the biochemistry of what happens to our body when we don't have enough stress and when we have too much stress, and answer the key question, is stress good for you? Let's get into it. It's Mondays with Mihaela. That's right, that's me. Thank you so much for tuning in. I love and appreciate your support. What I'm going to talk about in today's topic is really interesting. It's about stress. Let's get into it. We all deal with stress every single day. If that's work related, if that's business related, if that's personal life related, whatever it is, we deal with stress. What I found really interesting preparing for this video is that in Australia, stress costs Australian businesses $10 billion a year. That is absolutely crazy. Now, if we can perfect our stress, imagine how much money we would save or make if we were business owners. Okay, so this does not include the money potentially lost in your own business while you are sick or non-productive. This is just individuals who are working for employers. That is absolutely crazy. And also, what I found really, really interesting is in a 2012 study published in a Journal of Public Library Science 1, what I found interesting is that work-related exhausted stress can be harmful and damage to the DNA. It can alter our DNA. Stress can alter our DNA. That is absolutely crazy. And this is why most doctors say it's because you're stressed. But now, is that stress good or bad? But also, another thing that I wanted to put in there is stress shortens our telomeres. And telomeres measure our longevity, okay? They're at the end of our DNA. So if stress does that to us, it changes our DNA, it shortens our telomeres. What else is stress doing in our body? We all know what happens to our body when we're stressed. We feel it. Our blood pressure rises. We don't salivate enough, so we're unable to digest our food. Our pupils dilate, absolutely crazy. Our sweat is increased, production of sweat is increased. What also can happen is it stimulates glucose production and release in our stored energy. Our muscles strengthen because we're getting ready to attack whatever it is that we're going to attack. And the key thing for us to understand that I wanted to break down before I get into the question is, what happens when we're stressed? So we have a stressor, okay? So this can be physical or mental, it can be perceived or actual. That is the key, perceived or actual. So this is something that can be actually happening to us. It can be something that we perceive as a stressor. So we need a stressor to experience stress. And then what happens is it goes to our hypothalamus, which is a small region located at the base of our brain, which is near pituitary gland, and this releases our hormone CRH, and then it is sent to a pituitary gland, which releases ACTH, and then we get to our adrenal glands, which are right here, just above our kidney. I was waiting for that light, just above our kidneys. And this adrenal gland releases cortisol, which is produced. Now, cortisol is released in our body. It raises sugar in the body, preparing our body to fight or flight. So that is in a nutshell what happens when we're stressed, okay? It can be perceived or actual. Remember that. That is key. So now the question is stress good for you? Is it good for you? Well, we've all been brainwashed that stress isn't good for me from all the things that I've mentioned above, because it can cause our body to just not be in the right state. But the key is the wording. What type of stress is it? Is it acute stress? Is it long-term stress? Is it just stress that's here and there and then it'll go away? Or is it stress to stay? That is the key. And that's what I'm going to break down today. What I want to say is psychologists call the beneficial stress, so some stress is good for us, eustress, which essentially means beneficial stress. Okay? So the term was coined. So eustress, the term was coined by endocrinologist Hans Sayer. So it consists of the Greek prefix of EU, which means good, and then stress, which means stress. So essentially means good stress, which is very interesting. So what does this good stress mean? Let's dive a bit deeper. But another thing that he also said is, it is not the stress that kills us. It is our reaction to it. So what he also said is, it is not the stress that kills us, but our reaction to it. That is very deep. Think about that for a second. It's not our stress that kills us. It's our reaction to it. How do we react to stress? When we've got those deadlines, when we've got to meet those things, how do we react to our stress? So let's see what happens when we don't have enough stress and we have too much stress. There's different types of stress that I spoke about. So the right amount of stress, doing a bit of research, it showed to me that the right amount of stress can help boost your energy levels. That is amazing. It can help boost your energy levels. It can increase your memory, and we all know how important memory is for us. It can give you a feeling of achievement and fulfillment. It can assist with learning and development and growing, both mentally and emotionally. It can ensure that you're more engaged in social activities. It can be beneficial for overall health. Wow, that is a lot of benefits for the right amount of stress. A lot of benefits for the right amount of stress. So the new research by Calfa and University of California in Berkeley looked at how acute stress, short-lived, not chronic stress, I'm not talking about chronic stress, I'm talking about short-term stress, how it can prime the brain for improved performance. So imagine how we can use this to make our brain function better. Those little stresses, how they can increase our brain performance. Another thing that I looked at is in a study in rats. They found that the significant but brief stressful events, the same, which is acute stress, caused stem cells in their brains to proliferate into new cells. When matured in 2 weeks later, improved rats' mental performance. So this is another study showing us that acute stress increases our performance, not chronic stress. So that's a key takeaway. So what I'm saying here is that stress helps boost our brain performance and also helps our brain cells grow into new cells. New cells. It makes new cells, which increases our brain performance. Wow, wow, wow. This is mind-blowing. So just over 100 years ago, psychologists Robert Yerkes and John Dodson suggested that cognitive performance improves as stress increases, although it falls off again if stress continues to rise. This was 100 years ago. These psychologists told us that acute stress helps our brain performance. That is mind-blowing. And that is so interesting. I find that absolutely interesting, and I hope that you do too. So just the right amount of stress energizes us, engages us. It makes us more active, and learning and development and cognitive performance increases. But what happens when we don't have any stress? Think about those individuals that you may have in your life that don't have any of those stresses that I mentioned earlier in their life. They don't have enough stress. So they're lethargic, they're bored, they're unmotivated, they're not focused, they're directionless, they have no purpose. So that's what happens to our body and our mind when we don't have enough stress, when we don't have those stresses in our life. But what happens when we have too much stress? We all know what happens when we have too much chronic stress. We get anxious, we get depressed, we become stuck, we become panicked, we're unable to function. Our brain just goes into brain fog. So this is what I'm saying is, there's too much stress, chronic stress, which causes all those chronic diseases. And then there's too little stress, which just makes us not motivated. It just makes us blur and unfocused. So what I want us to do is I want us to hit that middle stress so we can get motivated. Our brain performance can just increase. Our stem cell regeneration can just benefit our work performance. So we as business individuals are able to take our business to the next level. So we need those stresses, but we need to also ensure that they are acute. Let me know in the comments below, did you learn anything today? Are you stressed, and what are you going to do to ensure that you're in that middle stress, for that proactive stress, for that brain boosting stress? Thank you so much for listening. Share this with someone else that you believe may need to hear about this, may need to hear about stress. share, subscribe, like. Love you. Till next Monday. See ya.